Hello! I bought all these shiny paints many months ago and I'm absolutely dying to try them out. I've got FolkArt Dragonfly Glaze, FolkArt Extreme Glitter, and Stuart Semple's Unicorn Milk. I thought it would be fun to swatch them all out together, so let's get into it! I bought the FolkArt paints off Amazon, starting off with a set of 4 Dragonfly Glaze paints. They're colour-changing top coats and they have a different colour shift for each bottle. They weren't exactly cheap, so I'm hoping they're good. I paid around 40 Australian dollars for them, so about $10 a tube. Eek! Next up, I have a set of 10 FolkArt Extreme Glitter paints. I could not resist those shiny labels. I bought these from Amazon US because I had a voucher. And I'll link them in the description below. This last one is Unicorn Milk by Stuart Semple from the company Culture Hustle. I have actually used it before, but I thought I'd swatch it out today. It's a milky white iridescent paint. And really I'd consider all of the paints today to be top coats to put over the top of other things. So let's get swatching. I'm going to swatch on black paper today because shiny paints always look better on black than they do on white. I'm going to swatch out the Dragonfly Glazes first. Of course, they had these annoying little caps on the inside, so I got rid of those. And inside the paint looks very white, but there is quite a lot of iridescence in it once I start painting it out. It's a little hard to see at the beginning because my studio lights are very bright, but as the paint dries, it loses that milky sheen and becomes completely iridescent with a clear glaze. That first violet blue green shift looks very blue at this angle, and next is green gold red shift, which came out looking really red. I do like how iridescent paints just change colour completely when they're on black, and it also depends on the angle that you're looking at it as to which colour is dominant. The next one is blue-green gold shift, and you can see once again it's milky inside, but once I start painting it out, it goes this really pretty green gold, but I can't see much blue in this one. Some colours are definitely more dominant than others in each mix. The paint itself is quite thin, and it's like a very fine glitter in it, but it is really pretty. Red-violet blue shift is a gorgeous one as well, and you could probably see already how that milky paint is drying clear. I'll be showing them all dry in a little while. I'll just paint out this unicorn milk at the bottom here, and like it says, it is very milky, but it has this really iridescent sheen through it, and it's quite pretty. But I'll let all of those dry, and I'm going on to the Extreme Glitter. First up is Hologram, and you can see once again it's in a very milky liquid, and these ones smell really strongly. In fact, they smell exactly like Mod Podge if you've ever used that, so it's more of a gluey texture that this glitter is in. And I'd put far too much on the paper, so I'm actually putting some on white just to test everything at the last minute. The hologram glitter is quite green, and next up is silver. I only put a small amount, but you can see it spreads out quite a lot. And once the liquid dries, it will go from milky to clear, and it's a very shiny glaze. It looks just like Mod Podge, I'm sure it is exactly the same. More of a glue than an acrylic paint for these ones. Oh, the smell of it was getting to me a bit, so I don't really like that, but I do like how that gold really starts shining through. I think that's one of the best colours in the series. I also like the champagne as well. Once I spread it out, you can really start to see that glitter showing through. But it's not really showing up on white. As I predicted, none of them were really great on white, but it's interesting just to swatch them out so we can see that as well. Next up is black glitter, and this one didn't seem to be as glittery as some of the other ones that I've swatched out already. Although ironically that one shows up on white the best. That hologram is looking really great under the light so far. Next we have some different colours. First is red, if I can get it out of the pot. And it's so hard to see the glitter when it first comes out of the tube because of all that milkiness. You can see there's a red sheen to it as well. I think the next one, Jelly Bean Pink, is probably the most disappointing out of the set. You'll see why. It looks amazingly pink until you paint it out, and then it's got green glitter. It's so weird. It also does not look very good on white. I mean, the glitter's pretty, it's just not what I wanted it to be, which is pink. The purple is a good one though, and this one came out the correct colour. There are quite a lot of reviews on Amazon whinging about the Jelly Bean Pink not actually being pink, so I found that out for myself as well. Next is turquoise. This one's also really pretty, and I had to shake them a bit just to get them out of the bottles. Another observation I should make is that, yes, there is quite a lot of glitter in them, but it wasn't as much as I expected. I thought they were going to be a lot more glittery than they actually are. And maybe they require many coats. But on the white paper, all of the paints just look a bit sad. The dragonfly glazes are pretty much invisible as well. There's a little bit of sheen but not much colour, and the liquid on the glittery ones has just dried in funny colours. I don't really like it at all, so I would not recommend using these paints on white unless you're going to use a lot of it. Their intended purpose is to go over the top of other colours and black as well. If I didn't know they were supposed to go on darker colours, I'd be so disappointed right now, but fear not, dear viewer, now we're going to look at them on the black paper, and the difference is quite significant. Now we can see them. First up are the Dragonfly Glazes and the Stuart Semple Unicorn Milk. I've just painted one layer of the glazes here because I wanted to see what it looks like without putting too many coats on. I'm not seeing a huge colour shift within each paint, but they are really shiny and colourful. The Stuart Semple Unicorn Milk, the left side is one coat, and then I did do a second coat on that main swatch. You could see how shiny that one is. It's actually quite beautiful. And next up are the glitter paints. That hologram one is the one that stands out to me immediately, and even the black isn't too bad once it is fully dried, but you can see how glossy the painty glue medium is, and the glitter is embedded inside. See what I mean about jelly bean pink? It's green. But I do like the other colours, and I think these will be great for craft projects like thrift store item makeovers, which I enjoy doing, and I'm actually going to paint something now. So a little while ago, I painted this egg in Stuart Semple Blackest Black 4.0. It's cool, but it has quite a few scuff marks and it's picking up things from the environment. So I thought I'd shiny it up with some of these Dragonfly Glaze paints. I decided to leave the red one out, and I'm just going to go with the other three because I think they'll make a nice gradient. I'll go with blue, green, gold at the top, and then the violet, blue, green, and the red, violet, blue at the bottom. So I just found a cheap palette and I'm putting a little bit of the paint in here, and on this matte black, you can see that iridescent sheen immediately. I'm really glad I did this. I had been thinking about it for a while because I thought this egg would really showcase these Dragonfly Glaze paints. The paints themselves are really easy to use. They're quite thin, and it's really easy to spread them on something so you can do thin layers and not use that much paint. So even though they're relatively expensive and the bottles aren't that big, I think this paint is going to last quite a long time. I only used a small amount of each paint in this particular project, and I did 3 coats in the end, just to make sure everything was nice and even. I also wanted to have a nice smooth gradient from each colour, so this first layer I'm basically just getting the paints on there, and then when I went over with subsequent layers I did blend them just a little bit more, so you can't really see a line where each colour starts. I did of course wait for the top of the egg to dry before I painted the bottom of it, and as with other acrylic paints it dried quickly, so I was able to get the 3 layers done within about half a day or so. Of all of the paints I showed here today, the Dragonfly Glazes are definitely my favourites. I can see me painting on all sorts of things with these, so once I let it completely dry, this is where I'm going over with the second layer, just to kind of start blending the paints together and making that nice gradient. I'm remembering now I left it overnight and then did the third layer, so maybe closer to a day than half a day, but regardless, it didn't take that long. And because the glaze dried nice and shiny, I didn't end up painting any gloss over this. It's just 3 layers of paint, and it seems to be alright. Hopefully it won't chip off. I haven't had any problems so far. But I think you could see how smoothly this paint is going on, and it's really nice to use. So yes, I'd recommend this paint if you like doing these sorts of projects. They'd be great for rock painting as well. Basically any surface that you can put acrylic paint on will work for these, I would say. Just finishing up here, and I'll show you my finished project. A shiny egg! It looks lovely, I think, and I'm really glad I did this with the egg. It looks so much more interesting than the plain black. You can probably see how the colour is shifting quite a lot in this, and it looks really nice from the green at the top, merging down into blue and purples. It seems to be the more layers you add, the shinier it gets. And 3 coats seem to be great for this. I've got it sitting on my display shelf now, next to my resin egg. And I think they go really well together with all of my other dragons and whatnot. So I would call that a successful project, and I really love those Dragonfly Glaze paints. So if I'm really honest, I didn't really know what to do with the glitter paints. I need to start some new makeovers, but in the meantime I'd cleaned out this paint palette where I'd had a bunch of golden open acrylics in it for months, and they were starting to get a bit gluggy. I had some leftover paint, so I created these little abstract paintings. There are some lava sharks, and then I've just basically chucked paint onto these canvases just to not waste it. And all three paintings are actually kind of interesting, so I thought maybe I could add some glitter to them and give them a little more pizzazz. Starting with my lava sharks, I was painting black glitter onto the fins, and you can see it's really not showing up that well. It's a bit better once it's fully dried, but I'll do all the paintings first and show you the results at the end once they're all dried. I also added in some of the gold glitter onto the lava itself, and I was trying really hard to not paint glitter over the entire painting because it's so easy to do that. Because it's in that milky liquid, it's extremely difficult to see at the moment, but once they're dry, there will be some glitter to be seen. I've got some red glitter here as well, and I was dabbing it on in random places. There's also some of that champagne glitter too. So this is one way to use glitter paints, just adding a little bit over the top of existing paintings to give it a bit of sparkle. And I'll just do the same on this last one. I made the mistake of putting some of the red glitter on the black and I didn't like it, so I ended up pouring out a bit more champagne glitter and going over the top of it. And that improved it a lot. This is where I was pouring it out because I'd run out of paint, of course. And then I've got far too much paint that needs to go on this, so I was trying to think where else I could put glitter after I'd finished this little painting here. I think this one is vastly improved with the glitter. But in my sketchbook I had been experimenting with some granulating watercolours, and I'm very gently painting the rest of the glitter I had in my palette over the top just to put it in the book. And because it's a slightly gluey texture, it didn't actually lift any of the watercolour, which is really great. I haven't tested this on other watercolour paintings yet, so I'm not too sure how effective it is, but it seemed fine on this particular one. And here are my paintings once they're dry. The lava shark, there is a little bit of glitter in there, but it's maybe not quite as shiny as I would like it to be. It feels more like moderate glitter rather than extreme, although you can see a bit of the black on that larger fin. And the gold is shining through a bit, but I don't think it's done a significant amount to this particular painting. The next one here, I can see it on this one a lot more. It's more of a subtle glitter because I didn't add too much to this one. I just wanted a little bit, but you can see how glossy it is dried compared to the rest of the paint. So in this case, I might want to paint over the whole thing with some clear gloss coat. Although I do quite like the contrast of glossy and matte paint on here. It is more glittery in real life. It's really hard to show it on camera for some reason, but it really shows up on this one. This is the best of the three when it comes to the glitter, and I'll keep it like this with the shiny and matte paint together. This is my favourite of the three when it comes to the glitter being on it. But let me know what you think. Is the glitter doing anything to these? Would you get these particular paints? I'm not super convinced with them if I'm perfectly honest, although I like that it doesn't come off at all. That glitter is totally embedded. And it actually worked out really well on top of the watercolour. I think this has just given my egg a bit of sheen and I'm liking it. So if you like to have your glitter in a liquid form rather than dry glitter going everywhere in the studio, then these paints may be something to consider. And this is essentially what they look like on top of other paintings. So that's all I'm going to do today. I really just wanted to swatch the paints out so I could see what they look like, and then I'm going to use them in future projects. But so far the clear favourites for me are these 4 Dragonfly Glaze paints. I think that egg turned out really pretty, and I'm looking forward to using these in a few other makeovers at some point. Like I said before, I'm not super convinced with the glitter ones yet. I do need to use these a lot more just so I can get a better idea as to how good they are. I don't feel like they're extreme glitter though. Let me know if you've got these and if you've used them. Do I need to add more coats to them? I'm always happy to hear your thoughts on how to use products, especially in my first impressions. I completely forgot to use the unicorn milk, so I'll be doing that in a future video as well. But as far as I'm concerned, I can never have too many shiny paints in my collection. I do find uses for them, and I like to find ugly items in the thrift store and then give them a pretty makeover with shiny paints. If you have any ideas about what I should paint with these, let me know in the comments. I do read them all and I take this on board. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of these shiny and glittery paints. I'm really looking forward to making more things in the future with them, and now that I've opened them up and swatched them out, I'm far more likely to do that. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and you might want to click subscribe for more videos. I'll probably put a couple of makeover videos up here for you to view as well. I hope you're all having a fantastic glittery day out there, and I'll see you again in my next video. Swatch you later. Bye!